I fully recognize we are currently in the month of April, and you know what? It's summer collection time already. Blame capitalism. I don't know what to tell you. So for today's video, I have the news release from Essie. I have their new summer 2024 collection called Summer Trends. So I'm reading this directly from the Ulta website. According to them, this release is inspired by an inner check-in. Glow-worthy shades will remind you to breathe in and breathe out. So in typical Essie fashion, we have 6 polishes total. I will have links in the description box to where you can pick these polishes up. I personally purchased them from the Ulta website. I would imagine as, you know, summer actually gets closer to us, more places will also have it in stock, and I'll link all the places where Essie is sold down in the description box. I'll also have links to the Essie social media pages, my social media pages, including my blog, and timestamps are down there as well. Let's just get into this video. First up, we have Renity, which Essie describes as a deep pink with yellow undertones. Renity had a fantastic formula. It applied so nicely. It had really great coverage as well on that first coat. Not a one coater, but it was pretty close. I feel like Essie's description of this color was pretty good. It has a slight duskiness to it. This is not at all one of the shades of pink that I personally find myself gravitating super strongly towards, but I ended up really liking how this one looked on me regardless. My full-on swatches show Renity in 2 coats plus glossy top coat. This does dry down just slightly darker than it initially applies, which I find happens a lot with Essie creams. Removal for this one is going to be super easy, and I had no issues with staining. This next one is called Glisten to Your Heart, and Essie describes it as a soft sand neutral. The formula on this one was pretty good. There is a delicate shimmer in this polish. I'm having kind of a hard time trying to decide what color I think the shimmer is. I'm gonna say maybe like a very pale yellow or maybe orange. It's a little bit brush strokey when the polish is wet, but you don't see any brush strokes when the polish dries down. I would say though that Essie's color description on this one is pretty spot on. This is one of 2 shades in this collection that I'm gonna call a 2 to 3 coater depending on application and personal preference. My full-on swatches do show Glisten to Your Heart in 2 coats plus glossy top coat. However, I had quite a few dark spots on my nails. I honestly feel like I should have gone in for a 3rd coat, but I was super committed to doing only 2. I do think that my cameras were able to pick up a lot more of the unevenness in the overall finish than my eyes were in person. However, when I was taking the polish off, I did see quite a few dark spots. I was like, oh, probably should have added another coat there, huh?
My bad.
So yeah, 2 to 3 coater. The shimmer in here is not going to dry down textured, super easy removal, and I had no issues with staining. And now we have It's All Bright, which Essie describes as a deep champagne metallic. Between the name of this polish and how it looks, this gives me very strong holiday/winter vibes. Was pleasantly surprised that I actually kind of liked how this one looked on me. I usually don't really care for colors like this, but there was something about the whole polish itself that I found really enjoyable. Formula was fantastic, not too thick or too thin. It is a little bit thinner than I was expecting, but I wouldn't say it's a thin polish at all. It has a very foil/metallic look on the nail. I was really surprised when I brought this one outside that I could actually see a reflection of myself in the nail. Here in this shot over here, you can see on the bottle and in the nail, there's like a little dot of green in a couple of places. That was me. I was wearing a green shirt that day. I'm going to use the word reflective to describe how well I could see myself in the nail, but it's not reflective like reflective glitter. My swatches show It's All Bright in 2 coats plus glossy top coat. I will, however, call this one a 2 to 3 coater depending on personal preference. I feel like if I was being super picky, I could see a little bit of visible nail line in this one, but I didn't think it was enough to get me to do a 3rd coat. Nothing in here is going to dry down textured. Removal will be very easy. However, the little metallic particles in this one will stick to your skin and nails on removal, but you know, wash your hands and it won't be an issue. And now we have Breathe In, Breathe Out, which Essie describes as a soft, dusty purple with white undertones. Breathe In, Breathe Out had a fantastic formula. Again, not a 1 coater, but it had really great coverage. This one self-levels really nicely and applies buttery smooth. I am a little surprised that Essie is describing this one as a soft, dusty purple. In my notes, I refer to it as like a pinky purpley mauve. They are correct though, there is a bit of dustiness in this polish. It does seem like it has a little bit of gray in it. This is another one of the polishes that dries down darker than it initially applies. This one did seem to react a little bit funny when I added my top coat. It seemed like it polish lightened up a little bit, but then it darkened back down to what it was before. I thought for sure I was gonna have to re-swatch this one, but looking back at my footage, I'm not seeing any color differences between the nails, and I kid you not, there are 3 different top coats on my nails for the swatch. Originally, I thought I was going to have to redo the swatch, so I was doing tests on each nail to see the different top coats and how they were reacting. So all that said, my swatches show Breathe In, Breathe Out in 2 coats plus glossy top coat, super easy removal, and I had no issues with staining. And now we have Meditation Haven, which Essie describes as a soft yellow with neutral undertones. Meditation Haven had a really nice formula. This is one of those yellows where you definitely do not want to overwork it. For my full hand swatches, I swatched this one in 2 coats plus glossy top coat. I had a little bit of unevenness with it in 2 coats. However, on my thumbnail, I opted to add a 3rd coat to see if I can even it out. And honestly, it looked exactly the same as the rest of my hand. So I don't really think there's much of a point in doing 3 coats with this one unless you have really bad coverage. This shade of yellow is just light enough that I could see this even being a pastel, but it also has like some vibrance to it that it's not like boring pastel in my mind at least. Is it the best yellow cream that I've ever tried?
No.
No, it is not. Is it a pretty good yellow, especially for like more pastel leaning yellow? Yes, I would say it is. Sometimes I come across a cream that without top coat, it looks super uneven. I'm not super happy with it, but once I add top coat, some kind of magic chemistry thing happens and all of the unevenness that was bothering me without top coat isn't as big of an issue with top coat. And this was one of those creams that I had that, like, I was kind of amazed that my camera didn't pick up any dark spots or anything. So yeah, especially for a yellow, add some top coat to this one and I don't think it's a bad yellow at all. That is Meditation Haven in 2 coats plus glossy top coat, super easy removal, and I did not personally experience staining. And now we have Soul Searching, which Essie describes as a mid-toned terracotta orange with red undertones. Soul Searching had a fantastic formula. I knew when I saw the photos on the Ulta website that this was likely going to be the star of the collection for me, and you know, it was. While this was not a 1 coater on me, I do still think coverage was absolutely fantastic on that 1st coat. For most of the creams in this collection, I think if you go in for like fairly thick coats and you're in a rush, you can get passable coverage in 1 coat if you go in for like a really thick one. My full hand swatches, however, do show Soul Searching in 2 coats plus glossy top coat. I really don't see anyone needing more than 2 coats for this polish. The official color description for this one is pretty spot on. I would still call it a terracotta, but it's a very warm orangey one. It's not super brown. I did not personally experience any staining with this one, but I would definitely suggest base coat. Alrighty, so final thoughts. So as far as this release goes, I was really surprised at the color story of this collection. It feels very like late summer, early fall kind of vibes. I do think overall the color story itself is very cohesive and like I can buy this being a summer release. However, I will still admit that I kind of was expecting brighter colors from Essie. I feel like this is an upgrade from last year's summer collection. I didn't think last year's summer collection called Push Play, it wasn't a bad release by any means, but like for a summer collection, it felt more back to school than anything. So I do think this was like a nice attempt for a summer collection. But I think it could have also been better. However, I do also think all of the formulas in this release were fantastic. So like it wasn't, again, it wasn't a bad release. But as far as colors go, I was really hoping for like a different vibe altogether. I've seen some sneak peeks on upcoming summer releases from other mainstream brands, and I feel like I'm going to be saying that a lot. Like the color story is cohesive, but it doesn't feel summery. If you need to know one thing about me, as far as seasonal releases go, fall and summer are the ones that I look forward to the most, and they're generally the only time of year where like I like expect and want seasonally appropriate colors. If anyone has seen sneak peeks of China Glaze's summer collection, please send it over to me because I haven't seen anyone post about it yet. As far as my top pick goes, I'm gonna go with Soul Searching. I feel like that terracotta color is not a color at all that I personally enjoyed on myself until I started swatching and receiving colors that I wouldn't normally like reach for and gravitate personally. But I really liked how that color looked. I thought the formula was fantastic. It was really opaque. So I'd love to know what everyone else thought of this release. Planning on picking up. Y'all know the drill. Let me know all your thoughts and feelings. Before we end today's video, I do want to give a very special shout out to my channel members, Shenanigans. Just thank you guys so very much for the love and support. Names, of course, are all on the screen right now. If you would like to sign up for channel memberships, I have a link for that in the description box. You know, please do not feel pressure to sign up. Just, you know, like the video, comment, share, subscribe, all the things, and seriously, we are good. So just thank you all for joining me again for today's video. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you really enjoy Essie polishes, I have an Essie playlist of all of my Essie swatch and reviews. If I remember, it'll be popped up in the corner right now. If I don't remember, it's linked in the description box as well. I hope everyone has a fantastic weekend, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye. I feel like for the people who don't know what this is on my shirt, you're gonna be very confused.
When I get high, I ain't looking at the clock, still ballin' like Brian. to the Bucks, then I'm ballin' like yeah.